Hey guys, in today's video I thought it would be very useful for you all to see how I would set up a little photo shoot. And what I mean by that is I'm going to be shooting the PolarPro ShortStache filter for a little review that I want to write for them. I really think it's a great little filter. And I thought it would be really useful if I actually then did this little photo studio mini light setup tutorial so you could see how I go about shooting some of these smaller products. And I've had to shoot a lot of small products in my days. Like I've got little intraocular lenses, I've got medical products, I've had to shoot lots of different items, and I really enjoy shooting small form, let's call it little objects. So today's video I thought, let's set it up and let's go through the process of shooting one of these little tiny objects. In this case, the everyday PolarPro ShortStache filter, and I'll be using the Leica Q3 as my weapon of choice to take this photo. I'm going to be using the macro mode on the Leica Q3, and I'll probably be shooting at about f2.8 or f4. I still want fairly shallow depth of field, but let's have a go. So this is the first shot, first photo. I want to get this little detail here that says 56 millimeters. I'm going to actually turn this around because I want to see the part that says everyday. I'm just going to angle it out of the case ever so slightly so I can get this kind of nice look going on here. Okay, a little bit of chimping action. What do we got? Let's zoom in. We be sharp. One thing that I think I might do, which would be really cool, is if I kind of can figure this out, I wonder if I can prop this up so it's standing up. That would be a very cool photo. I might need to use a bit of blue tack or some gravity-defying balancing skills. Hoi, like that. That could actually be a cool little shot. And if I come around here and I shoot it from this angle, I could actually get... I think what I'll do is I'll stop down to f5.6 for this shot, and I'm going to rely on perhaps the manual focus. I'm going to just try and work the angles. I'm going to move around the scene and shoot it from different angles. I am shooting everything in RAW, so I have maximum ability to kind of adjust. And just for those playing along on screen, you can see here that I'm shooting in 5500K. I like to lock in that, and that is my that's my preference for photographing objects, photography in general. I just think it's a really nice way of locking in a simple color that you can then control rather than letting the camera auto white balance to hell and back. And that is a bit of an issue. Never mind, let's go for the next. I wanted to rework the angle anyway, so that is a sign to change my frame and see what we can do now. Maybe what I can do is have it kind of close like an oyster. Oh, that conceptually that might be quite nice. If I treat this almost like the oyster inside, or the pearl inside the oyster, that is a cool friggin' thought if it stands up. So this is part of the fun. This is what you do. You go around and you play around with what you've got until you get a shot that you like. So I think I've got to close this down a little bit. And then I'm just going to do this one, kind of like this. I could also use blue tack. I'm a little bit lazy for that, so I'm going to try this angle now. I think this looks pretty cool. It's like a pearl inside an oyster. You'll notice I also put a little bit of a backdrop here. I want to get a bit more fill light on this side. I'm just going to feather the light a little bit and use the edge. And I think this would benefit from having a really strong kind of light behind here. I think we can work it so we got some warmth coming in. And I think what we'll do is, I'm going to try and backlight this guy a little bit more. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try here. And this conceptually is the pearl inside the oyster. Oh, this is a better angle. I think if I get a little bit closer here, I'm going to pop back down to about f2.8. I want to get a little bit more shallow depth of field here. And I like what's going on with the background. I like how I've got a little bit of wood and warmth everywhere. It's just complementary to the green that's popping off here. And this is just it. I just work the angles. I just keep working the angles. I think this now has to come behind here. We get the back of the logo of the ShortStache, or the PolarPro logo here. And I might try just to stop down to f4 and I'll just spin this sucker and see where it lands. So that is it. Now it is time to get these photos into Darkroom and on the iPad, and let's get editing. I'll show you what the edit looks like now. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is I need to get my photos into my iPad. So from the Q3, I'm going to get into the iPad, and this is a workflow I'm really enjoying. I love working with the iPad's touch interface to get my photos going here. So the next thing is I'm going to switch on the Leica Q3 here. I'm going to go over into my Leica app. I'm going to go into my Leica Q3, and I'm just going to connect just like that. Get a little prompt at the top. It says accessory network joined. Thank you very much for letting me know. A couple more seconds, 1, 2, 3, and here we are. Here is all the photos, the raw photos that I've taken on the Q3. The beauty here is I'm just going to click on the little arrow, the little tick button here, and you can select all, but like I like to go through and just pick some winners. Like this shot's, that shot is average, I don't like that. These are great. This one looks epic. Epic. This is a bit boring. I'll take it anyway. This shot is okay. This shot's good. I think this one looks a little bit nicer. Good. These shots are good. And I'll leave the videos for another time, but let's just now hit import, and we've got the DNGs. We're downloading 1.72 gigs. It's time to take this workflow into the Darkroom. So let's go to Darkroom, choose the app. We'll go to Recents, and you'll see here a whole range of different photos that I've just taken. So let's go through these bit by bit. I want to start. Where to start? I think I really like this shot here, this clam, this pearl type shot that we're talking about. So you can see here, it's a little bit of a highlight overblown here. We've got this beautiful kind of golden light here, and then we've got the kind of cleaner light giving us a look here. What I've done in Darkroom is on the right hand side here, you'll see that I've created a whole range of different looks. Standard dynamic range, you can see the original at the top, standard dynamic range base video. There's a WB, that's white balance 5500 base, which I create, a Q3 base and an SL2S base. Let's have a look and see what happens here. So clicking on original, that's what it is already. Let's see what the base video style does. See how it's kind of just gone and cleaned up a little bit. It's given me a little bit more detail. It's given me a little bit more information in those highlights. The other thing, just let that motorcycle go past. The other thing that's happening here is you click on the 5500 base, you can see there's a difference here. So this SDR base video that I use, I actually grade a lot of my videos in this tone just to bring back this kind of softer overall look. A little bit, let's call it 80% crushed blacks rather than 100%. If you look here, the 5500 base, it's cleaning out that kind of 5500K white balance. On the Q3 version, see what it does there? So subtle, but it's changing some of those colors in the top corner. And then my SL2 base, which is a little bit kind of nicer. Actually, I think this base looks better at the moment, and I would use this one. Yeah, I think this is the one I want to use. From there, I go in and you can see my settings already applied. I've already got most of these based off the preset I've made, but what I will do is I'll just bring my slider on the highlights down ever so slightly. I want to get rid of that hotspot over here a little bit. I'm going to add maybe a touch into the shadows. Let's see. I like to go to the extreme to see what happens and bring it back. And you can see that not a lot needs to be done there. I think the next thing that I would do is I'd go in and add a very subtle vignette, very subtle. And I'll just pump the sharpness ever so slightly. And that right there, from here to here, is essentially all I would do to make that photo pop. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a hot spot here. Do I bring it back? Do I care? Not really. Because the whole concept of this photo, what I wanted is when you're opening up that clam and that oyster, whatever the hell it is, you see inside the pearl. The pearl is the ShortStache filter. Look how beautiful that looks. I am pretty happy with that shot. I'm going to go back and I'm going to select this photo. I'm going to copy the edits here and I'm going to apply it to all of the pearl shots. Actually, I think I can apply it to most of the shots because I shot them in the exact same settings. And let's see what happens here. I think I will have to go in and adjust a bit more, but let's paste these on and let's see how these photos look after the preset. I can already see just from the thumbnail preview some of these photos that didn't have the very strong background motivated light or that kind of shooting into the light. They're going to need to increase by half a stop or so. The pearl shots are looking nice. So I'm just going to hit done and I'm going to start from here and I'm going to just review. This shot, it looks pretty cool. I think what needs to happen here on this shot is I might need to just bump the exposure ever so slightly or the brightness. I'm going to start with brightness. Yep, brightness is what we needed and a touch of the shadows. Actually, now that the shadows are back, I'm going to bring the brightness back down just a little bit. Shadows a little bit more down. Let's boost the blacks and take the shadows down. And I think that to me, I'll just adjust the tone curve ever so slightly. That there has brought, I think that's actually really nice. I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that there, but there's one thing that I will do slightly, and that's straight, but I feel like just it needs that much. And it needs also, I think it needs that much. Okay, then, so we've got that shot. This shot needs a little bit more in the shadows, and we'll have that just boost in the shadows there. There we go, done. This shot, how's this coming in? It's doing a bit of a load, do its loading thing. Let's turn the brightness down and see what we got there. I think that one is pretty much done. This photo, what have we got happening here? I think a touch on the exposure, a little bit more. This photo is loading. Let's see what we got here. This photo's actually got the ShortStache nice and sharp. So I'm going to do two things here. First, I'm going to start with a slight straighten, I think. And maybe I'll actually start with the light. Let's go here. Let's go back here. And just waiting for the effects to be applied a little bit more. Here's a few more coming in. Again, remember these are 60 megabyte files. These are big files, so they need a little bit of time to come in, especially when working with the iPad. So let's check out this shot next. These standing shots are actually pretty cool. I like these shots a lot. Let's load it. Let's get that white balance going. We'll try the... I think this one could benefit from a hair more exposure. Actually, a lot more exposure. Some brightness. And I'm relatively happy with the rest of that. I think what I do need to do is straighten that ever so slightly. There we go. I'm not a huge fan of this area here. I may try either crop down on this and make it a portrait photo, which can work because I've got 60 megapixels to play with, or I might... It's actually interesting. I like the balance of the shape of the ShortStache filter and the light here, but it's a bit much. This is the stopped down variation. I'm not liking it as much. I mean, it's sharp and all, but it's a bit boring. This is just got something interesting going on here. Yeah, I don't like that shot. Nah, that shot's alright. To be honest, I don't like any of those shots. I'm going to delete those 3. So I'm taking those 3. I'm going to delete. We don't need them. Okay, let's have a look at these top shots. Interesting, interesting. Oh, that's the wrong shot. So these shots, I think those 2 are better. These 2 are not necessary. Let's delete. Let's be brutal. Let's delete those 2. Delete those shots. Okay, so we're starting here. Pretty happy with that. Here, let's go give this one an effect. A very slight correction. We'll use, I think, the SL2 again. Yeah, that's a really nice rich photo. What we will do is we'll bump that brightness ever so slightly, and I think we will turn down, boost the white. Let's, shadows are not doing too much. I'll give it a bit more shadows for this one. And then I'll give it a bit of black. There we go. It's subtle, but I like the overall warmth better than this magenta. And now, one other thing I'll do is I'll just ever so slightly straighten that horizon. And done. Relatively happy with how that looks. I think I'm so happy I'm going to take that look that I just created, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it to here. Paste edits. Give it a minute. It's loading the photo, it's thinking about it, it's doing it. Again, this is iPad. The fact that I'm editing 60 megabyte files on an iPad is fantastic. That is sharp. I'm liking the look of that. I don't like this little shape over here. I'm going to try and crop this down ever so slightly. And just focus on our product. Let's take that down. It's kind of interesting, a little bit angled, but going a bit Dutch. Let's go 1 Dutch. There we go. And that is beautiful. Then we have our clam. This shot we've not done. Let's go in here and tweak it ever so slightly. Strangely, this one came in quite dark, so I'm going to have to boost the exposure quite some bit on this one. Boost the brightness. I'm going to have to turn down the highlights quite a lot, and I'm going to have to boost. I mean, if anything, it shows you how flexible these files are. You can really push and pull them, which is great. Just be careful not to kind of blow out your highlights. This is a lower key photo, so I will not push it too hard, but I think that's pretty interesting, and we've got this nice kind of sharp look on here. One thing I might do on this photo is actually I might try and motivate more of this green to come out here. I'm going to just pump this bit up, see what I get. Yeah, I think it's okay. It's not one of the better shots, but I think it's okay. This shot, I might try something different. I might just black and white this and see what happens. It might be just a cool little shot. It might not be anything, but that is the beauty of photography. You can just play and play till your heart's content, and you can get a look that is quite interesting. Let's take these tones off. Let's give it a bit of fade, a tiny bit of grain, a lot of sharpness, and well, it's interesting. I mean, it's a shame that the ShortStache filter doesn't pop from that. It's kind of all blending in, so it's not that interesting, but no, I'll use it. This one is just an establishing shot. I think it is okay. Have I got a filter on it? Yep, I've already got that effect. I think what I would do is I might try and just put a little bit more exposure and a little bit more in the shadow. Maybe something like that. This shot I'm a big fan of. I like this shot. I think that's a cool photo. I think we're just going to tweak it ever so slightly. Let's get that edge looking nice. Make it a little bit tighter. And that's a done deal. This shot, yeah, this is the winner. This is the hero. This is the product shot that we'll be using. I like this one a lot. I'll be sharing this one in the review for sure. This is the photo that we set out to get. We need to crop that down ever so slightly. The black over here, I'm not really that worried about this time. Yeah, I guess it would be nice if it extended, but I'm not so worried. So that, to me, is done. That is it's a freaking cool photo. This one is also great. This one, oh, this is surprising. I forgot about this. We started here. This is a nice photo too. Ever so slightly, let's just adjust this like so. And this photo, we don't need this photo. This photo can be deleted. Delete that photo. This photo is fine. We'll keep it. This one might be interesting for some of my B-roll. I might crop down on it. I think I don't really need it for now. We've got some better shots above, but I will just pump out some of that shadow and the blacks so I can see what the lens looks like, or the filter rather, sorry. This one, we'll just pump up that a bit more, pop that down, boost that. I think what we can do is we can actually crop down on this a lot more, a lot harsher. I don't really need to see the edges of the case. I think it needs to be something like this. I think that might be a little bit better. Again, the beauty of the 60 megapixel sensor is you can do this. You can crop down to your heart's content. This photo, actually that last photo sucks. Let's get rid of that. That's a terrible photo. Even cropping it doesn't save it. Let's be brutal. Let's move on to this one. This one's better. Softer, beautiful, just a lot more interesting. It's a shame about that, but I might try and remove that later. And this is the only thing where I will potentially use AI, and we'll see how that works. This one, establishing, needs a crop. It's a little bit kind of too wide. I don't like that. Let's kind of just do some of this. Crop that. Yep, that's better. This one, 58. Do I need it? Maybe this can become an extreme crop. Maybe we just brutally crop this down like this so that we've got an interesting... It's okay, I guess it works. This one, do we need it? I'll keep it as an establishing frame. Okay, so from this step forward, I then take all these photos. I think they're good. I'll go to the batch here. I'll take all of these photos. I might exclude the black and white one. That's a rubbish photo. And we'll export all of these, and we'll export a copy. Now that we've exported the copy, we just wait for this to happen. Again, this is the time for your second coffee, because this takes a little while, but again, it's not that fast. As you can see here, 3 photos already down, and what was that, 10 seconds of me speaking nonsense? So we're down to 5 photos, and I will speed this section up, and we'll go through it again later. There is one final step that I do, and that is generally to bring it into RNI apps, and I'll talk you through that experience in a minute. And I think that is a full export. Now I'm going to just delete the RAWs. I don't need them anymore, that they're now completed. I will then move into, let's get into the next part, which is my RNI app. I love RNI app. It is fantastic, and I just think the whole experience of using this app is great. Here's my view, same photos that were saved into iPhoto. I love the seamless integration across the channels. Let's start with one of our favorites, or at least my favorite photo, which is this one here. We open this up. Well, let's discard these edits, what I was previously editing. I'm going to go into my favorites. Now, this app is great because you've got all these different profiles of real film stocks, and you've got fine details that you can edit RAWs in here, but I just prefer my darkroom workflow. What I have done is I've created a whole range of different ones for different cameras, different settings, different scenarios. The Kodak Gold that I created work really well with Nikon cameras, and generally they work for everything. I love the look of the Kodak Gold, and they remind me of the Nikon rich tone portrait style. The Leica Q has a different sensor rendering color reproduction, so I have a set specifically for the Q. The Q3 has a very specific set of profiles, and so does this Leica brass look, because I noticed the Leica brass simulation in JPEG, while it's beautiful, has some interesting effects that need to be counted, I feel. I also record with the Osmo Pocket 3, and I've got a set of warm scene profiles that I've created. Then these latest ones on the right are a couple that I'm experimenting with. I haven't put them into the organized stack yet because I'm still experimenting, but the classic night, the Kodak Gold Highlight Soft is really beautiful. The 5500K RAW, which can work for RAW photos, and the 5500K RAW Subtle. Let's start on the right-hand side here with the RAW Subtle. What does it do? It has created a little bit more of a magenta cast, and I don't think we need it for here because we already created and edited with the darkroom profile that corrected that 5500K. The same can be done here for the RAW. It adds less of that tone, but it does create an interesting color effect. Let's move on to the Kodak Soft and see what it's done here. Not so much change the colors, but it's actually kind of made the photo all the more richer. This is my secret sauce, and this is where I have absolute fun color grading. The classic night is interesting as well. It's done something really nice. I think that's great, but I would have to do a further test and update, and I'll share that in a minute. Let's see what the Kodak Gold does. Now that is what I'm talking about. That looks really nice. Kodak Gold Light, if you want a softer wedding crushed look, and then Kodak Highlight and Kodak Warm. We're starting to push into the magentas. I'm probably going to stick with, between the Kodaks, I think what works for me is going to be the Kodak, either the Gold Highlight or the Gold. I think the Gold Highlight is the winner for me. So I'm just going to hit tick, I'm going to go download, and I'm going to update the original because I don't need that original look. We've already got that fixed. And the beauty here is you can actually non-destructively go back to reset this photo back to when we started, apart from the RAW, when we exported it to iPhoto. Super good workflow, super good. Okay, so now that we've got one done, let's move on to the other photos. Let's start to the bottom. Let's go here, and technically what we did in the last, because it's the same shot, we can go through and just simply add the same effect. Now, a little bit of richness, a little bit of cinematic bloom, and it is really that easy. That's all that needs to be done. And if I open up this photo, there's two photos I have my eye on. This photo's okay, I don't really like that. I think this photo here, I think is the one. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. A little bit of warmth and richness added. I guess if I were to term or give you a phrase of what this filter does, or this step in the process, what it does, it makes the photos feel all the more richer. And I deliberately shot this in a more warm tone, so I really, really wanted to accentuate what was happening with the warmth in these photos. And you can see here, as a result, I'm getting these beautifully rich photos. This photo is a little bit different. I think what I might try and do is use the 5500 RAW. Yeah, this one works a little bit better because it's a little bit more high key. So you can see here, before, after. I know, don't blink or you miss it. It's a subtle thing, but it's these subtle differences that really make a difference for me. See the ShortStache there? Before, after. Before, after. I think that looks really, really nice. I'm going to save that, update the original, and let's go back to reviewing and applying to the other photos. I think these filters standing up by themselves need this look. Yeah, it does. And there we go. We've now taken a picture from RAW with a basic little, let's call it mini studio setup. I've just compressed what I usually and used to do in studios and miniaturized it for the purposes of this video. What I will do next is I will assemble this all into a nice little video so you can see the settings, how it works, and the last thing I'll do here is you'll see in the photos, I'll have all the photos that were taken just now in iPhoto, and you can see how they're looking. We can zoom in on the details. Look at those files. They are beautiful looking photos. This one could have done with a little bit more light here, but never mind. I think, yeah, we did, here it is. There's the little bit more light. That looks a lot better. So you can see here, we're kind of dark, and then you can see here, there we go. We've got ShortStache and the PolarPro logo. All in all, mini photo shot complete. And I think this one right here is the hero shot. I'm liking what this is looking like. It looks damn cool. And that's actually a nice shot too. I probably should have taken that in the landscape, not portrait. And all in all, between here and here, you can see the differences. I think that is a pretty decent outcome. And as always, if you got any questions, let me know. This was a really fun little shoot that I did with the Leica Q3, and I wanted to show you what it's like to shoot the PolarPro ShortStache filter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to create a very short video that documents the work behind the scenes that goes into creating some of these photos, because it's all well and good now that AI exists, that people just, give it a prompt. AI, generate for me a picture of a product, a lens filter with Rembrandt style lighting, blah, 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 blah. But the craft and the effort that goes into the craft, there's people like us that actually enjoy doing that. So I know it's probably inevitable that the world is going to change and we're all going to be out of a job in the future. But for now, for what it's worth, I wanted to share how easy it is and rewarding. Not so much just a transactional thing. Like when you think about why you go to a coffee shop or why you go to a running track or why you do something, because there's a certain level of satisfaction. AI is a fantastic tool to help support us in our creative endeavors, in our day-to-day lives, data analysis. But when it comes to craft, leave something for us, yeah? Let's continue to enjoy the craft. Let's continue to support each other so that we can work with AI to enhance what we do rather than replace what we do. Because right now, the state of content, advertising, and just everything looks the same. It is so damn ugly. It's the same plastic skin. Sure, there's technology and AI that's coming in to help change the way that looks, but leave something for us, the creators, yeah? And let's just keep creating. Let's push it as long and as hard and as fast as we can. And when the day comes that we are replaced and everything looks super organic and looks beautiful and matches to what we've done, I guess we can be happy that it was created off our own creativity. It's up to us to keep pushing beyond that and create something new so that AI continues to learn from it and we can keep evolving to better, bigger, more creative things. I hope it helps. For what it's worth, I just wanted to create this video to share. If you're interested in more of these, how to create something, how to shoot something from kind of base, or if I did a street scene walk, broke it down and then filmed it for you, let me know and I'll create a few more. It was actually quite fun to create this. It only took about an hour or so, not even that. So, an hour a week could be quite an interesting outcome. Anyway, keep creating. Hope it helps. Hope you enjoyed it. And most of all, Keep creating, people. Cheers.